Next is the psychic powers. All right, we've got the mind-made body. When one's mind is thus concentrated, pure, bright, etc., one directs it and inclines it to creating a mind-made body. From this body, he creates another body having material form, mind-made, complete in all its parts, not lacking in faculties. Everybody understand? No, nobody understands. It's weird. All right. Suppose a man were to draw a reed from its sheath. He would think, this is a reed, this is a sheath. The reed is one thing, the sheath is another, but the reed has been drawn out. Or suppose a man were to draw a sword from a scabbard. This is a sword, this is a scabbard. Or pull a snake out of its skin. This is the snake, this is the whole skin. So now do you know? No, of course not. It makes no sense. Let's skip it for now. All right. Next is the knowledge of the modes of supernatural powers. You get your mind concentrated, etc., and then having been one, become many, being one, being many, become one, appear and vanish, walking through walls, ramparts and mountains, diving in and out of the earth if it's water, walking on water without sinking as if it's earth, sitting cross-legged, one travels through space like a winged bird. You know, that's like riding a magic carpet, but you don't have a carpet, right? With his hand, he touches and strokes the sun and the moon. Remember, the sun and the moon are deities. So you're actually going and stroking a deity. One exercises mastery over the body as far as the Brahma world. Okay? These are the magic powers, right? I know about people that get insights. I don't know anybody that can walk on water. I mean, I'm open if you can demonstrate, not on video, because you can fake anything on video, but if you can give me a real life demonstration of walking on water or walking through walls, I'd be really curious to see. But you know, I don't think you can do it. I mean, I have a background in physics. I'm just not buying it. I'm sorry. So what's going on here? Especially considering there's a sutta, Digha Nikaya number 11, where the Buddha says he despises these things. They're not worth the time and effort. And there's another sutta. This one is in the numerical discourses, the Anguttara Nikaya. It's number 3.60. And in there, the Buddha's having a discussion with a Brahmin, and they decide there's three miracles. There's knowing the minds of others, and there's all these supernatural powers, and there's the miracle of instruction. And the Brahmin says, yes, but those first two only benefit the one who does them. Sounds like a private experience, right? And the miracle of instruction benefits others. I mean, yeah, the instruction is a miracle. I've been sitting here, exhaling, flapping some loose stuff in my throat, making sounds which go into the microphone, get turned into digits, get sent over the internet, come out of your speaker. You hear what I said and you learn something, hopefully. That is kind of a miracle, that I can sit here in California and there are people in London who are learning something, and also people in Tennessee and New York, and yeah, weird. It's definitely weird. It's a miracle. All right, but walking on water. All right. So I was in Portugal teaching a retreat, and I was staying with this guy who was into what do you call the dreaming when you know you're dreaming? Lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming. So this guy was into lucid dreaming, and he happened to mention that there's a technique called wake-induced lucid dreaming, wild. And you can go from being awake straight into a lucid dream. I was like, oh, interesting. So, of course, as soon as I got a chance, I looked it up on Google and read all about it. And the mind state you need to generate to go into a wake-induced lucid dream, Sounds a lot like what you've got coming out of the fourth jhana. Oh, is the mind-made body learning the wake-induced lucid dreaming technique? And what are you supposed to do in a lucid dream? Oh, fly through the air or walk on water or all of this other stuff. So I'm going to say that the supernatural powers are wake-induced lucid dreams that you learn to do by making a mind-made body. Now, you're probably not going to find very many other people saying that, but that's how I'm going to interpret it until somebody can demonstrate walking on water or flying through the air. I mean, yeah, I'm open. All I need is a little bit more than some black and white squiggles on a piece of paper. All right. The next one, the knowledge of the divine ear with a concentrated mind. One directs and inclines it to the divine ear element, which is purified, surpasses the human, and one hears both kinds of sound, the divine and human, those which are distant and those which are near. So this is clairaudience. We actually have a word in English that describes this, right? And knowledge of encompassing the mind of others is similar, right? One understands the minds of other beings and persons, having encompassed them with their own mind. He understands a mind with lust is with lust, without lust, without lust. This list of mind states is coming straight out of the Satipatthana Sutta, right? But knowing the minds of others, we know that. That's clairvoyance, right? So we know about these things. This is ESP, extrasensory perception. Modern science says we can't find any evidence of this, but it's a common enough phenomena that we actually have words for it. I'm going to say that these two are ESP, whatever ESP is. Whether it's people, making stuff up or not being very good at probability, and they think something's going to happen and it probably was, and they think they knew it in advance, or whatever clairaudience and clairvoyance and all the rest of ESP is, it does seem to be enhanced with a concentrated mind. I mentioned to Ayya Khema at one point that, yeah, my ESP seems a little bit better. I mean, it's really weak, but it seems a little bit better when I'm doing jhanas. And she laughed and said, yeah, we've all noticed that. So whatever ESP is, whether it's a scientifically valid thing or not, or whether you're picking up subtle cues or who knows, it is enhanced by having a concentrated mind. So this is easily explained, other than, yeah, we don't know what ESP is. And then the knowledge of recollecting past lives. That's a good one, right? What have we got going on here? It says one remembers one birth, two births, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, 100,000, many eons of world contraction, many eons of world expansion, many eons of world expansion and contraction. So, yeah, what's going on? Well, the Buddha supposedly did this during the first watch of the night on the night of his enlightenment, right? First watch of the night. Okay, so India's on the equator. Day and night are about the same length, 12 hours. And they have 3 watches of the night, so 4 hours. So being a mathematician, I want to do the math. How long did the Buddha have for each of the 100,000 memories? I mean, it's more than that, it's eons, but I don't have a number, but we have 100,000. So divide 100,000 into 4 hours. I'm sure all of you can do that in your head, right? And you come up with 1/7 of a second per lifetime. And you got to remember name, clan, appearance, food, pleasure, pain, and lifespan in 1/7 of a second. And in the next 1/7 of the second, you got to remember the same things. And this is a lot of stuff. This is 49 different things per second. The human mind can't function that fast. And you can't say, but he's the Buddha, because that's not going to happen for another 8 hours, right? What's going on there, right? Was he just remembering, oh, yeah, at first I was with my father, and, that was in Kapilavastu. And then I moved on to, studying with my first teacher and studying with my second teacher, and then with those 5 guys doing the austerities. Was that the lives he was remembering? It actually says in the Pali, he inclines and he directs and inclines it to the knowledge of recollecting previous dwellings. Okay, and that's been interpreted to be lives. Was this 1 life, 2 life? Was that inserted? I don't know. Let's leave it in the I don't know bucket and do the next one. Maybe that'll help. Knowledge of the divine I, concentrated mind. One sees beings passing away and reappearing, inferior, superior, beautiful and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, and understands how beings fare according to their karma. Thus, these beings that were endowed with bad conduct of body, speech, and mind, who did the wrong stuff at the breakout of the body, have reappeared in the plane of misery. But these beings who were endowed with good conduct, etc., they appeared in good destinations. So the Buddha supposedly did this in the second watch of the night. So he's sitting there and he's looking, and this guy's dying. Oh, he was bad. Now he's dead. And this couple's having sex, and he's going to be their baby. He's going to have a terrible life. Oh, and this woman's dying. She was such a sweet person, and she's dead. And that couple's having sex, and oh, she's going to have a great life. Do you really think the Buddha sat there for 4 hours watching people die and other people having sex? And I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it. I think actually what was going on is something that is talked about by Stephen Batchelor in his book After Buddhism. This critical assessment of the doctrines of rebirth and karma risk overlooking a crucial, important role that they played in historical Buddhist cultures. To dismiss them as unverifiable metaphysical beliefs of a former age fails to recognize how they serve to situate human life within a vision of the cosmos. Rather than conceiving of one's life as a brief flicker of self-interested consciousness on the surface of the earth, people with these beliefs could see in the mythic language of their time how all living beings are intimately connected to a complex series of causal conditions that preceded their existence, as well as to a seemingly infinite unfolding of future consequences for which each was in some way responsible. In providing a sense of humility, connectedness, and responsibility, this worldview encourages people to consider the significance of their existence in the selfless context of the immensity of life, not reduce it to the service of their egotistical greed and hatred. That's what I'm going to say this is about. I don't think the Buddha was literally remembering 100,000 lifetimes. I don't think anybody's going to do that. I don't think he was watching people dying and couples having sex and babies being conceived. I think when he was trying to express what he saw that there was a lot that went on in his life before he arrived that had made him who he was. And he saw that everybody is doing things that are going to have consequences. And the consequences of what we do affect us, but they affect the world in general. And this is what he's trying to express in a culture where people are looking at multiple lifetimes as a very important part of what's going on. And so he can relate this not by explaining dependent origination and karma and everything else, but by talking to them in a mythic way of something that they would understand. And I think he did a great job with that. So that's my interpretation of all the psychic powers. First two, wake-induced lucid dreaming. Second two, ESP, whatever ESP is. And the third, yeah, this is what the Buddha used to express the immensity of our lives and all the connections that come and go before us and after us. One of my friends said, we are valves. What? Yeah, we're taking all of the stuff that's gone on before us, and we're a valve, and we manipulate that with our actions to produce more stuff that goes on after us. I know it was a pretty interesting way of looking at it, and I think that's what the Buddha was trying to express.